I want you guys to understand that wherever you are right now, you probably think and feel that, oh, this is never going to improve, because that's how I used to think and feel. I used to be like, oh, well, this is it. I just have to grovel for like the smallest little piece of praise. You're exactly where you're meant to be. Once you learn the art of detachment and take a step back and realize that the more you try to control an outcome, and when I say control an outcome, like the more you try to chase things, the more those things go away from you. What is up, people? Welcome back or to another video. For those who are both old and new around here, a very warm welcome back. Excuse the messy bed in the background. I'm on holiday and I am not making any beds. I wanted to touch up on why you're exactly where you're supposed to be right now. And yes, I know it's a cliche and I know you're possibly rolling your eyes at this. I can't reiterate to you enough that you're exactly where you're supposed to be. Now, you might not like where you are right now, whatever's going on in your life, whether that be in your personal life, your family life, your career, your business. I was reflecting on the year of 2025. Understandably, Christmas, New Year, throughout the whole of December and January, people naturally start reflecting on the year, like if they want to make changes to things, etc. So I'm going to go through my 2025 with you, and I hope it resonates, because this was literally a prime example of when you let go, things actually come to you. And this is something I've always struggled with. I struggle to let go of things. And for once in my life, not only did I let go, but I actually had to, like I was forced to let go. So if you were around on this channel in early 2025, I actually didn't post for like 3 months up until the end of March, early April, because I hit mental burnout. In the back end of 2024, when I look back at like pictures and conversations I was having with people and situations that were happening in my personal and work life, there were so many clues there that I was about to hit burnout that I ignored, or that I just wasn't aware of at the time. And there's so many signs and signals that our body gives us, and we choose to ignore them. Well, I did at the time anyway. So that happened in January of 2025, and I left my corporate career, having broken my back for so long trying to be the absolute best. Absolutely jumping through any coloured hoop that someone gave me. Yes sir, no sir, 3 bags full sir. Literally, that was me. A part of my healing was looking into how I became that person, and I couldn't quite believe, after all I had been through in the last couple of years, that I let myself get into that state, and I let myself be that vulnerable and that stupid, really, that I let a job control how different I was in my personality. I dropped all my defenses. I just became this people pleaser again, which was very unlike me. If you've been on this channel a long time, from the beginning, you'll know that I talk about how to not become a people pleaser and how to come out of that. So I felt like a massive hypocrite because I went back into those cycles. And this is why it's so important to keep doing the self-reflection and the inner work, because you never really know when you're becoming vulnerable. And I didn't know I was becoming vulnerable at that time. So I left, and all I knew at that time is that I could not do a corporate career anymore, or a corporate job, because that took every ounce of my personality away from me, and it took me away from who I was at a core level. It took away all my creativity, it took away my personality, it took away my morals and my values, which to this day I'm embarrassed that I let happen. And at that point I was like, well, what the fuck do I do with my life? Like, literally, now I've worked corporate jobs a lot, many years, too many to count. And this was the final straw. This was literally the straw that broke the camel's back. And I couldn't mask it anymore. I couldn't pretend. I couldn't play house. I couldn't play along with the emails and the facade of everything. And quite frankly, I don't know how I did it for so many years. Probably desperation and just, fear of being disliked, fear of being a failure or looking like a failure. When I moved out of London, I made connections with this Turkish family, and I was like, hey, do you mind if I come and work at the restaurant like a weekend or so? I just want to improve my Turkish. That was literally it. I didn't expect it to go any further than that. I was only doing literally 3 days a week, if that. I needed 1 full day off just for therapy. And the other times I was literally just resting. And when I say resting, I mean my brain had to just zone out. And what I found about working in a restaurant is my brain could zone out because it was like repetitive movements, if that makes any sense. I've tried to explain it to people and I don't know if I'm doing it properly, so apologies if I'm not making any sense. But the repetition of the movements kind of meant I could zone out and just still recover, but then try and get back into like a workspace, working more full time. Because at this point, I'm still not 100% out of burnout. And I've also at this point got no confidence whatsoever, because my corporate career, when I tell you it chewed me up and spat me out, I can't reiterate that enough. This is around March time. I start working a few more days. So as I'm growing in confidence, I start getting given some more shifts. I cannot thank my friend and her family enough, and all the other people that I worked with at that restaurant, because they never questioned me, ever. They were never like, oh, what happened? Or, oh, why can you only do 3 days? Or why can you only do... It was literally like, they were so patient, and whether they cared or not, they probably didn't care. Like, looking back, they probably didn't give a shit. But it was so nice that I didn't have people in my face like, oh, what happened? Anyway, they gave me room. As my confidence started building, I started getting more responsibilities. And I will say this with complete and utter confidence, had one of the best experiences working in that restaurant. For once in my life, I wasn't trying to control my career. For once in my life, I wasn't trying to put the pieces together before they happened, because my whole life I had always tried to control every single outcome, especially when it came to my career, and pushing and trying to get that promotion and trying to get that bonus. That was me. But for once in my life, I had a job where I wasn't doing any of that, and that is why I was so fucking happy. And I didn't have any goals. I didn't want to be a manager. I didn't want to be a supervisor. I didn't care, because the bottom line is I was treated like a fucking human being. No one was in my business asking me personal questions. And I made the bestest friends working there. And this was the last place I would have ever thought about working. Bearing in mind, I've just reached out to a friend and I've just said, I just want to work there to improve my Turkish. That is it. I'm not trying to be the CEO. Fast forward to the summer of 2025, and 2 ladies come into the restaurant that I was working in. Didn't think anything of it, sat them down, served them, they ate their food, and they asked for the bill. Completely normal. We get chatting. I'm just at this point just thinking, oh, this is a normal conversation. I'm quite a chatty person, so it worked. Anyway, the other woman turns around and she's like, oh, I'm the general manager of one of the restaurants on this street. She was like, I just work in such and such restaurant, and she named it. I was like, oh, okay. I was like, yeah, I've heard of it. Obviously walked past it many times, didn't think anything of it. She was like, why don't you come in on Monday and I'll give you a free lunch? And she goes, we can have a chat. And she winked at me like this. And I thought, okay, what the fuck is this about? Weird. So Monday morning comes, I go into the restaurant, and she was like, oh my God, you came. She's like, and she was almost shocked that I came along. I was like, girl, you're offering me a free lunch. Of course I'm coming. I didn't say that. As soon as she sat down, she was like, basically, she goes, I've called you in here. She goes, because I want to offer you a job to work here with me. She went, I want you to be my supervisor. I was like, whoa, wait, whoa, hold on a minute. What the fuck did you just say? I just couldn't believe my eyes. Do you know my whole life, in every single job or career that I've tried, do you know how much I've chased promotions and jobs and internal jobs, promotions, bonuses? Do you know how much I've begged for moments like this? And I've worked so hard for them, and it's never, ever been offered to me, ever. And in this moment, in this specific year, because this was summer of 2025, there I was minding my own fucking business at work, just serving customers as normal, working a job that I didn't ever think I would be in, but turns out to be one of the best jobs I've ever had. And somebody offers me a job. What? I've literally never been headhunted in my life. So I was just like blown away, and we got talking and we had so much in common. I couldn't believe it. We had so much in common. We were both millennials. She was a few years older than me. Therefore, we had experienced the same life, experienced the same struggles. And I went home and I felt so bad because I loved where I was. For the first time in my life, I was like, but I love my job. For the first time in my life, I wasn't trying to run away. For the first time in my life, I wasn't chasing the greener grass or the bigger picture or the bigger paycheck. I was just happy where I was, and somebody fucking offered me a job. So I thought about it and I was like, it's a good offer, but I love where I am. I don't want to leave my friend. And that's never happened to me really, like not on this level. She was like, just think about it and let me know. So I thought about it for a few days and I felt so bad letting her down, but I did text her and I said, look, thank you so much for the offer, but I'm not in the right mind space to take a new job right now. And I briefly explained to her that I had come out of burnout. I didn't want to go into details because we had just met. I didn't want to scare her. So I'm just recovering from a bit of mental burnout. I said, I don't want to take on a new role because I don't want it to be too heavy for me. She went, no worries at all. She was like, thanks so much for getting back to me. October 2025, we get news that the restaurant is closing. We were given 2 weeks notice. So my friend came in and the business has been sold and the new tenants want the restaurant in 2 weeks. I was devastated because I loved working there. And it wasn't so much, oh, I'm going to lose my job. What am I going to do? It was more, but I love what I'm doing here. I don't want to leave you guys. This is why it's so important to hold relationships with people, because I focus on relationships with people. I don't focus necessarily on things looking flashy on the CV, because these things are fickle, and okay, your CV might look flashy, but that person sometimes can lack personality or something like this. So I've always focused on keeping relationships and only burning bridges if it's absolutely necessary, as in like for my own personal protection. So I instantly thought about the woman who had offered me the job in the summer. I finished my shift that day. I walked up the street and I thought, oh, I'm just going to peer in the window. I didn't text her in advance. I thought, I'm just going to see if she's in. If not, then I'll text. I shit you not, as I was walking past, she was walking out. She was like leaving work. Do you know what the coincidence was? Is later on, she said to me that she had been trying to leave work for over an hour because her shift had finished. But because she's a general manager, she has loads of shit to do. She was like, I couldn't leave. She goes, I kept trying to get up and leave and somebody asked me something or somebody sent me something. She goes, I could not put my laptop away and leave. I was like, are you actually kidding me? I said, my shift finished 5 minutes ago. And I thought, I'm going to walk up here just to see if you're in. And then she happened to leave as I walked in or walked past. So I asked her, I said, look, I explained what was going on. I said, is that job offer still available that you offered me in July? And she went to me, you know what's really weird? I actually didn't think it was going to be open. I thought she was going to say, do you know what? Better luck next time. Sorry. Do you know what she said to me? She was like, I've literally just opened the ad again because she couldn't find someone for that part that she offered me. She goes, I've just put the ad out like 2 days ago. I've gone from letting everything go because I have no more energy to control anything else, like no more energy to control outcomes. So I've just gone to the universe. There you go. I'm done. Do your fucking thing. And this has happened. Like all these little events that have all lined up perfectly. I just couldn't believe my luck because I'm aware of the job market. I'm aware of how much people are struggling right now. And I'm not making light of this, or I'm not bragging or showing off. But it just reminded me when people talk about the art of detachment. This is what they mean. Not caring anymore, but just not trying to control every outcome. Now, I probably went the complete opposite way and I did stop caring because I was literally like, I don't have the energy to care anymore. I literally don't. But this is why I look back on the timeline and I think to myself, not only right place, right time, because I do agree with that as well, but it was literally the art of you are exactly where you're meant to be. So if I had taken a break from my corporate career and gone, do you know what? I'm just going to go and find either a better job or I'm going to give it another go and go for that promotion again, having had them treat me like literal disposable goods, I wouldn't be telling this story right now. The smallest decisions and where you are when can mean so much in the long run. And whilst I'm still really sad that the restaurant closed down, I'm still in contact with all my friends and we'll still bump into each other every now and again. And I've only ever got fond memories of that place. And I think to myself, if I owned a restaurant or a cafe or a shop or something, I would want my employees to be so happy. I would want them to feel comfortable, to feel safe, to feel like they're wanted and that they're needed. And there are so many businesses that just don't even do that. They don't even treat their employers like fucking human beings. And I can look back on every single corporate career that I've done. And I hate to say this because it sounds really negative, but I don't have fond memories of any of those places. All I can remember were people treading on one another to try and get by and just being mean for absolutely no reason whatsoever. Just mean-spirited, spineless people. And I don't want to sit here and say all corporate people are the same, because I'm sure there are nice ones out there. But having this kind of universe change everything for me, and the only reason I took a step back is literally because, like I said, I had no energy anymore to fight. So I was literally like, I am done. Just do of it what you will. And it ends up being better than I ever imagined. I want you guys to understand that wherever you are right now, you probably think and feel that, oh, this is never going to improve, because that's how I used to think and feel. I used to be like, oh, well, this is it. I just have to grovel for like the smallest little piece of praise. You're exactly where you're meant to be. Once you learn the art of detachment and take a step back and realize that the more you try to control an outcome, and when I say control an outcome, like the more you try to chase things, the more those things go away from you. And I read a saying somewhere that I always keep it in my mind. And it was, if you chase a butterfly, it will fly away. If you try and chase it and catch it and whatever, it will fly away. Whereas if you're still, it will fly near you and possibly on you. And that's exactly how the universe works. And every time something didn't work, like a true millennial, I was like, must be me. I must not be trying hard enough. Let me just work a little bit harder. And guess what that led to? Burnout. I'm also saying this so that anybody else who thinks they're either on the brink of burnout or possibly going through what they believe is burnout, if you can, take a step back, because your health is more important than any job title. I always think to myself, I'd rather have my health over anything. I'm not putting one more job in front of that. I'm not going to sacrifice anymore. I'm sick of this. And of course, then when you heal, maybe I can do another video. Let me know if you want it. When you heal, go through all the motions. And one of them is anger. It's anger and disgust. You're literally disgusted that you let yourself get to that point. And that was in the part of healing that I was stuck the most. And that was the hardest part of healing for me, because I could not get past the anger and disgust part, because I was just bitter that I let myself get to that stage in the first place. But wherever you are right now, and I do hate to sound like a cliche, but trust the process, because I couldn't have imagined my 2025 went like that the way it started. So it might start a certain way. It doesn't necessarily mean it's going to end a certain way. So especially now, I'm posting this in January, you might not be feeling too happy with where you are or where your year is going or where your career is going, your business, etc. And I put this on January on purpose because I was reflecting, and I know January is a month where a lot of people sit and reflect. They're in hibernation mode because the weather's shit. There's not really much to do. People are depressed because of all the hype from Christmas and New Year. If it's stuck with you, I'm so glad. And I hope you find what you're looking for. Or I hope what you're looking for finds you. Let's just put it that way. And if you haven't already, make sure you hit the subscribe button, give this video a massive thumbs up. I will see you guys in the next video. Peace out.